Hey, hey, hey. It's the Chaos Queen here, and you're listening to the GeekCast Radio Network.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, and you are listening to Studio 2009.
I just stopped by with some news. I thought you might be interested.
There's nothing wrong with your podcast player. Do not attempt to adjust the volume. Hello and welcome back into our studio. You are now inside Studio 2009. I am, of course, TFG1Mike, and joining me once again is that good old detective Dave Draper. Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
I'm as well as can be, I guess. And today we continue our journey as we put our trench coats on and jump back in time with Columbo. We are visiting the Lady in Waiting, as these are the Columbo files here inside Studio 2009. And as I mentioned, if this is your first episode, which really you should start at episode 115 of the podcast to really, or not 111, I'm sorry, 111 to get this. But we are going.
Your statements are inconsistent, sir.
Yes.
Columbo would have you pegged pretty quickly.
Yes, he would. But, we were starting at the beginning and going in order. As always, if you're online, you don't have the DVDs like Dave does, you can check out Tubi TV. They've got all of the episodes and seasons and everything else. So, yeah, Lady in Waiting.
A woman who attends a queen or princess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which really isn't what she did, but okay.
No,
but I get it. It's a I don't know. It's an expression, and she is, in fact, a lady who is waiting to get on with her life.
Yeah.
So,
I would say she's waiting to get her life started completely because...
get on with it, yeah.
It's one of those plots where the father, the brother, the males are like, oh, you're our daughter, you're our sister. We want you to act this way, act that way, act prim and proper.
Well, what's interesting is we talk about kind of looking back on some of these with a little cringe.
Yep.
And this one, it's like, because the brother's kind of right. Like, because she really kind of makes a mess of things. Once, like, even the murder aspect notwithstanding, it's pretty clear she's not handling the business correctly. Her relationship falls apart.
Yep.
Like, it's clear that the brother was actually doing a good job running her life for her.
Yeah,
the reason I added that question mark is because this is 2024, and that's a pretty cringy attitude to take.
Yes.
What difference does that make? He's an honest, hard worker.
Yes, he is. And he's ambitious. He's intelligent. He's a good attorney. And he has a flair for the advertising business. And he's also smart enough to know a golden opportunity when he sees it.
You're not father.
No, I'm not your father. I'm your brother. And if your choice in men friends were more mature, believe me, I would stay out of your life.
You don't know how to stay out of my life.
I won't let you be used, Beth. Therefore, I've taken the appropriate steps. Charles?
Yes, sir.
Car ready?
What do you mean
Yes,
you've
sir.
taken appropriate
Good.
steps? Bryce, what have you done?
I have written a letter to Peter Hamilton. He'll receive it when he gets back from Atlanta today.
What?
I told him that if he continues to see you, contrary to my wishes, his employment with Ellison Chadwick will be terminated.
I don't believe it. You mean you threatened him with...
I won't be home for dinner. Don't wait for me, Beth.
He won't care if you fire him.
But, it's 1973, man.
Yeah, that's... yes.
Plus, this guy was the $6 million man's boss, so he knows how to run things.
Yep. That, and I cannot believe, I mean, obviously what I'm going to reference happened years later, but seeing Lieutenant Columbo and Lieutenant Frank Drebin in the same damn, I was like, oh my God, Leslie Nielsen looks so young in this.
Number one, he was.
Well, yeah,
he was.
I know.
He's got that Steve Martin thing where his hair was always gray.
Yeah, that's true. But comparatively, December 15th to 1971 to whenever Naked Gun came out.
Not even Naked Gun, it was Airplane, which was like 78, 77.
Yeah. So,
that's because he was
77. Yes.
The thing is, I'm just saying, people don't realize that he was not a comedic actor. He was a serious actor until Airplane. That was why they cast him for that role.
Yeah.
Because he was known to audiences at that time as being a very serious actor, even though he was in like Forbidden Planet, which was, a cheesy science fiction movie that took itself seriously. But like he didn't become the comedy guy until that movie. And then that led to Police Squad and Frank Drebin.
Yeah.
And the Naked Gun movies.
Yep, absolutely. And man, and this episode was just wow.
It was interesting because we haven't seen until this time. I really don't think we've seen a killer's plan go wrong at the time until now. Do you remember one? Like it's like this one, like everything fell apart from the beginning. Yeah. Usually it's like you're kind of like trying to figure out what the little kind of like mistake is going to be that they're going to get caught on. Mm-hmm. Whereas this one was like everything went wrong.
Yeah. And the funny thing for me is when we have the scene transition, I think is it after the board. Whenever we have the scene transition where he's coming, but where who does he play? When Peter Hamilton, played by Leslie Nielsen, when he's going to his apartment. That transition from the previous scene to the outside of L.A. or the outside, seeing the building, and then he goes in the building. I was like, wait a minute, are we in a completely different city? No, it's him coming from, he says he comes from Atlanta, he flew in from Atlanta. But that was weird. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like, it was just a weird scene transition to me because I thought we were in a completely different place because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then we see him go to his apartment and... Yeah, I made a note about the letter that he got, and then they explained that later because I was wondering if they were going to explain it.
No, he said it. He actually, the brother had said that he left a letter for him. That's why she didn't want him coming home.
That's right. That's
part of the reason she didn't want him coming home.
Yep, that's right.
As to philosophy, my brother was a traditionalist. I want to break new ground. Would you pass these along, please? I want to streamline. We're going to cut down marginal accounts, and we're going to start promoting ourselves for a change.
And of course, I knew as soon as she didn't turn off the alarm, I'm like, set up, we're setting this up.
I knew once, like, the credits said Columbo. She was setting him up.
Yeah. And again, I will always mention this until it does not happen, but she remembered to break the glass from the outside in. Because that's a dumb criminal move if you're standing on the inside to break the glass and you break it from the inside out, because they're gonna that's easily, oh my god, something,
But that's also ironically what tripped her up,
right?
Because the whole thing is he came in through he had a second key and he came in through the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. This one had a lot. Maybe I don't know. Well, we've had.
It was a little different than the standard Columbo formula, which made it a little more fun, a little more interesting. Like I said, her whole thing fell apart, and she was trying to get everything put together, get the elements of the scene put together while the boyfriend was knocking on the door, Leslie Nielsen was knocking on the door, and at the same time, because he had come in through the front door, because the brother had come in through the front door, that screwed everything up. He had a newspaper, which became a key piece of evidence, And then I've mentioned it almost every episode. We finally get Columbo talking about shoes.
Yep.
We get our Quentin Tarantino moment where he's like, yeah, there'd be stuff there because they mowed the lawn that day and there'd be grass clippings attached to his shoes, and there wasn't.
There wasn't. Yep. Absolutely. That's hilarious. And I've been trying to keep track of this. So this episode is an hour and 15 minutes long. And I understand they have to set up the crime, they have to set up the murderer, they have to do this, do that, and I know he's not going to appear within the first 10 minutes most of the time.
No.
But he enters at 20 minutes 52 seconds or somewhere around 20 minutes 45 seconds, somewhere around there. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, I mean, this one because the whole thing is she had this elaborate setup to set up the brother to make it look like an act, like she mistook it for a break-in.
Yeah.
Like her plan is to make it look like he was getting into the house through unconventional means, and she mistook it for a burglar. and shot him. And so you have to have that whole setup. And first you've got to establish why she wants to kill him. So there's that dialogue and that interaction. Then there's her plan being put into motion. And then there was the plan falling apart. So there were a lot of pieces to this puzzle before Columbo even got involved. And then Columbo's just like, what's funny is like the scene goes black and then Columbo's just there with everybody else.
Yep.
Reading the newspaper. I
made a note here. The newspaper is going to do her in.
It didn't exactly, except that it really sort of was like the hook for Columbo to realize something was off.
Yep.
Because it was it's one of those things like even as someone as old as I, like, the whole thing is he goes, it's the late edition. I'm like, in my entire lifetime, like you always got the newspaper in the morning back in the day when you got the newspaper.
Yep.
Like the late edition is a thing that even I am not really familiar with, Like I understand the concept that they ran a second edition at night, but it's something I have no experience with.
No.
And I'm old. So,
Yes, I don't have experience with that either, but I know what it is and I know why it is, because back in those days, if news broke more or if
they didn't have cable TV that needed stuff to fill time, and they didn't have the internet, and they didn't have all the stuff that was immediate. It was like,
that was as immediate as they could get it at the time. Like we mentioned, is it the mother or the aunt? In
this one, it's the mother.
It's the mother. Okay.
You there. Pay the cab and bring my luggage. Come on, dear.
Do you have any luggage?
Luggage? Right here. And there's $10.50 on that meter.
I've only got $11. Well, go ahead. Keep it all.
You're a sport.
The mother. Luggage from hell and only $11. Like
that was the taxi ride was $11.
Yeah, I know.
No, it was $10.50 and then there was a tip.
Yeah, and then there was a 50-cent tip, so that's why I said $11. But her basically just assumed, and I guess.
So for the listeners, so the girl kills her brother, and then later on her mother shows up, like she comes back from wherever she was, and Columbo's standing around, so he kind of like attends the cab, and ends up being sort of sucked into this whole. He's got to like pay for the cab, and he's got to like bring in the luggage. So he gives the cabbie, $10.50 and 50 cents tip. So he keeps trying to get the money back from the lady, and this is how rich people stay rich. Is she was not giving up that money. He's like, give me your card, and I'll send you a check.
And he said, "Oh, gee, ma'am, I'm all out of cards." So she opens her wallet or whatever, purse, whatever it is. She gives him cash, and I'm like, wow. Just, it's so funny seeing cash in movies or in TV shows.
Really?
When we were, because most of the stuff nowadays, most of the new stuff, it's like, something like this would be like, oh, here's my debit card, or oh, here's my PayPal link, or here's this, or here. I don't know a lot of people that still. I know some.
I was stuck behind a guy paying in pennies at McDonald's this morning.
Really?
I don't know if he was paying in pennies, but it took him forever to pay, and it took him forever to get his like one. Like McDonald's went to pot when they tried to compete with Starbucks because they got his little coffee thing. It's like, it's McDonald's. You get your garbage, you go.
Well, the
mocha latte, poo-boo, whatever nonsense.
This is a whole other podcast.
a whole other topic, but it's just
I know, but I'm like, well, if McDonald's didn't replace all the actual employees, say how good or bad the actual employees are, if they didn't replace them with machines, it would be sort of okay, but McDonald's went all AI.
I don't know about, like, there are plenty of surly human employees at my McDonald's.
Well, good. At least the AI isn't fully taking over yet.
I don't know. At this point, I'd roll the dice.
What I found interesting in this, and I understand because of time.
Yeah, speaking of Columbo.
Yes. Yes.
My bad.
No, it's...
Speaking of Columbo. Go on.
Yep. What I found interesting is that, okay, there was a trial, but my note is written like this. No trial footage, just verdict.
No, it wasn't a trial. It was a...
It was a coroner's...
It was a coroner's inquisition or something.
Yeah. But there was a jury, like literally. That's why I say trial, because there was a jury, and I'm thinking,
I mean, it's a technical thing. There was a jury inquisition. You know, it's like a I can't remember. It's like it's not a grand jury per se, but it's sort of similar to that. It's a coroner's inquest, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I love that they did the what is the hell am I thinking? That he forgot the tray when they go out to the
they go
Sonic.
to the drive-in. Yeah.
Sonic. Well, that's the first. Sorry.
No, it's cute. Sonic is like the last place that does that, I think. I know Steak and Shake used to, but I don't think they do anymore.
They will if you have to. It's one of those things. If the drive-through is too busy and they ask you to pull around, which sometimes they do, a lot of times they don't.
I mean, McDonald's does that too, but no, but like actually stop your car and you get the tray and you sit there and you eat off of the tray. Yeah, and she makes a big deal. Please don't leave with the tray, because people leave with the trays, and of course the first thing he does is pull out with the tray.
He forgot, but at least the tray didn't like crash off the car.
He didn't get very far. He just kind of backed out a little bit, and she stopped him, and he got the tray. Yeah.
And I did not remember that his car was a soft top. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I in the back of my mind, but I did not remember that it was a soft top, that it's a convertible, and I'm like, okay, the car needs to be in every episode from now on.
The car is like, well, I need to go through my DVDs and see if there's any like bonus material, because the one story I really want right now is the story about why that car, because I love that car, because it really hasn't. It's becoming more of a thing as we go along. But I mean, it will get to the point that he is very proud of this crappy little car. Because it's French. I always say because it's French, because that's what he says whenever someone brings up his car. Like, that's an interesting car. He's like, it's French.
It's French.
Because it's his. He's such a down to earth guy, but this is his one fancy thing. You know what I mean? It's like it's his one sort of like show off thing, like my indulgence. But it's like the worst car France ever made, apparently. You know, it's considered a piece of garbage, but it's French, so it's his fancy thing. He's very proud of it.
Yeah,
it's just so Columbo.
Yeah,
you know, like it's the only way you can put it is it's so Columbo.
It's so Columbo, and it just like the car is like between the trench coat and the shoes and the cigar and his tics. Like his facial tics, and how sometimes he puts his hand on his head, or he hangs his head, and sometimes he does it. Just all the things that Peter Falk does as that character is so good. It's just amazing.
It's also one of the reasons it'll be the first episode of the next season. It's one of the reasons he didn't want the dog, because he felt like there was enough.
Yeah,
like there was almost too much.
Yeah, there was almost too much. Yeah. So he goes to the beauty parlor, and no smoking. The smell, oh my God, it might offend. And I get it, because I'm a non-smoker and my mom smoked all my life, so I truly get it. But
dude, there's that, and I'm with you completely on that, because my parents were smokers too. But have you smelled cigars?
Oh no, I know.
And number one, have you smelled cigars? Number two, these are Columbo's. It'll come up in ironically, the next episode.
Yep.
But these are Columbo's cigars.
Yes.
As I just said, Columbo's thing is his car.
Yep.
His cigars are not expensive. They're not fine Cuban tobacco.
Yeah, no.
They're garbage.
They're
and they probably stink like hell.
Yeah, exactly. But I just love that thing. We have and folks, when you're listening to these episodes, if I forget to number it, when we get to the season 1 finale, when we get to the recap or whatever, I will go back through my scripts and I will count up every time I write down my wife counter or one more thing. But my wife counter in this one, she says he's very compulsive.
Yes. Which is probably true. Well, I mean, she probably does say that.
The fashion show with Beth and Peter. Oh my God, that whole scene where he's aching to leave, like he doesn't want to stay and watch her try on every dress.
Well, he's got stuff to do.
Yeah, he does. You know? Yeah,
and it's sort of like, I mean, that's sort of showing how she's changing as a person.
Oh yeah, and this next comment of mine is going to be exactly so you see how she's changed as a person. When she had her hair done, so after that happens and she goes in and is trying all these clothes, that haircut bounces almost more than she does because she is so giddy with evil. Oh God!
I don't think she's giddy with evil. I think like I said, it's a weird situation. Mm-hmm. Because in 2024, the whole idea of the brother knowing best and controlling her life is pretty icky.
Yeah.
But in terms of the show, I mean, he did know best. Like she's out of control, or she's beginning to get out of control, and she's not giddy with evil. She's giddy with freedom.
Yeah.
She's never been allowed to do what she wants to do before, and she's sort of running wild. I mean, she has there's a moment like during the fashion show, she's got like this really like it's almost like something out of the original Star Trek. This dress that like shows off her midriff, and she wants to wear that to like a board meeting or something.
Yep,
it's totally inappropriate. Like even in 2024, it's inappropriate to wear to a board meeting. Mm-hmm. And it's just like she's free. So there's almost a sense of like it's kind of sad that she had to do what she did to be free. Like she probably never would have been free, but at the same time, obviously she would have wrecked the business. It's weird because it's this sort of like, I don't want to say that she shouldn't have been free because I don't believe that, but like she's not doing a good job with her freedom. But I don't think she's evil. Like I don't think she's like, who can I cap next?
Yeah, she's not like Mrs. Williams.
Oh.
The meeting, she tries to change everything. She wants them to promote themselves more and take on less client, or take on newer. What is it? Take on newer clients, and so she wants to change all that.
It's the family that has an advertising business, I believe.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And the one thing that got me, and that's going to keep coming up, is certain things from a certain movie that I have never seen that I'm still fighting on watching. But I think it's Leslie Nielsen that says this to Columbo. As you wish.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait a minit.
Well, that was the thing people said, like back in the day. Yeah, I mean, Boba Fett says it. And that's like a meme on Facebook, at least, that when Boba Fett said "as you wish," what he really meant was "I love you," and then like Empire Strikes Back came out first. Like it's just a thing that people said, and then Princess Bride made it a thing.
Yep.
So people don't really say it nowadays unless they're sort of referencing Princess Bride.
Yeah. And I don't know if we found this out before now, but Columbo doesn't drink. He doesn't drink alcohol.
I know. I mean, we always see him on duty, so like.
Right.
I'm trying to remember because I think he drinks a little in one episode, but maybe. He's not a heavy drinker. I know that.
No.
Does he say that he never drinks?
Well, in this episode, they offer him something, and he goes, "Oh no, I don't drink." So that's what's said in this episode.
I mean, he's like you never like in Columbo's world. He's never off duty.
Yeah, so obviously he's not.
Yeah. Oh wait, he drinks.
Oh, does he?
Because that's his favorite episode is Any Old Port in a Storm.
Oh.
He gets some wine in him.
We have a second My Wife, because My Wife and the Proverbs. So that's in this.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, and he says that his wife solved the case.
Yes, he does.
He was telling her about the case. So,
Cart and a horse, yeah.
Yep, cart and a horse. It was the alarm that actually did her in.
Well, so we always talk about what happens after.
Yep.
And it's weird because, like, I feel like if she hadn't pulled the... And this is also the first time that Columbo is in any kind of danger in any episode.
Yep.
Because at the end, she pulls her gun on him.
Yep.
He recreates the circumstances of the initial shooting. He comes into the door and he kind of confronts her and says, Leslie Nielsen, told me about the alarm. The shots went first and then the alarm went off. So that contradicts. But my thing is, that alone, a good lawyer could probably beat that. Like because you nobody wrote it down. This is you remembering now after the fact and saying blah blah blah. Are you sure? Are you saying that now? Are you saying that's pretty flimsy? But then she points the gun at Columbo and he talks her out of it. But that's gonna be a little harder to get around. Like you pulled the gun on a cop.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah, you don't do that.
No.
I still think, even then, it could be like, well, he was hounding me and driving me crazy. And I mean, if she had the right lawyer, she might be able to beat it. It's one of those I kind of wish. I always kind of want to know what happens next.
Yeah,
I feel like, but it's fair because the show's thing is, well, Columbo's got her. It's done. Boom.
Yep.
He's caught her. It's over. But my thing is I think a good lawyer could fight this one, And the next one we're going to talk about, I feel like a good lawyer could kind of we were going to get back into entrapment territory with the next one. Yep. It's very he says himself, everything that he has is very circumstantial and it doesn't come together. Everything relies on Leslie Nielsen's testimony.
Yep.
And saying I remember the gun first and that's very, I don't know. I think a good lawyer could break him down. I mean, his character is a lawyer and a good lawyer himself, so maybe he'd stand up to it. But I mean, you could beat that. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. The funny thing is, in this one, I thought I recognized the mother. Jessie Royce Landis is the actress that played the mother in this. And I looked through her filmography, and even though she did a lot of stuff, obviously, before I was born and things like that, I don't know, her voice, the way her looks, I really thought I had seen her before, and I'm like, nope, unfortunately not. Any other notes from you, sir, on Lady in Waiting?
No, I think... By itself, it's an okay episode, but having watched the whole season and having watched them kind of begin to get into a groove and a formula, and this one kind of breaks it a little. Like I said, the crime goes awry, and there are little details she pulls a gun on him at the end, and it was interesting. It's always fun to watch them tinker with the formula.
Yep, absolutely. So, as I mentioned earlier, this aired December 15th, 1971. Airplane was 9 years later in 1980 when I was born. So, 9 years between this and Leslie Nielsen's first comedy role. So, yeah, absolutely. I loved him as an actor. He was so good in almost everything he did.
Well, I think the weird thing is, again, they deliberately cast him because he was known for being so serious, and that became his shtick. Particularly because the Zucker brothers, Zucker and Abrams, their whole thing was so crazy and ridiculous that his seriousness and his straight-facedness was like an anchor around which all this insanity could spin.
Yep.
And it was a smart combination. By the way, Jesse Royce Landis was in a couple of Hitchcock films. So
You're going to call me a troglodyte because I don't remember watching a lot of Hitchcock when I was a kid.
no, I didn't watch a lot of Hitchcock when I was a kid either. But I'm just saying that's if it's something.
Mm-hmm. So, Naked Gun from the Files of Police Squad is 36 years old this year.
Does that seem okay?
88.
Naked Gun. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Naked Gun.
Because I was going to say I watched the actual show.
Yes. Well, I'm only.
I watched the show. I watched all 3 episodes.
Yes, I'm only Leslie's filmography. How Wikipedia. You know this. I'm just going to say this anyway. But how Wikipedia does it: film, then TV, then whatever. So I'm only in the films right now. So that's why I made sure I said Naked Gun. 36 years old. But man, some of the stuff he did. He was Colonel Chi, the villain in Surf Ninjas, a movie that is crazy as all get out. Really weird. It's good, but weird. He was Count Dracula in Dead and Loving It.
Oh, that's a Brooks film.
Yep. Did Spy Hard, Mr. Magoo. Like, I remember, so my Uncle Richard, he loved the Mr. Magoo cartoons, and every time we would go from southeastern Massachusetts, Plymouth, Plimpton, Kingston area down to the Cape, he and I would always watch old Mr. Magoo cartoons at the time in the late 80s. And seeing Leslie Nielsen as Mr. Magoo in 1997, just wow, just wow. His last role before he died, at least in movies, was something called Stonerville. He was wait, what? Oh, he played the producer. That's what it is. Stonerville. For TV credits, we know we've got Columbo here. He was in Wagon Train in 1960. He was in season 4, episode 14 of that. Let's see. He was in SWAT for a couple episodes. He's going to be coming. He plays. Wow. He has 2 Columbo appearances, which is interesting to me. He'll be in another one, Columbo Identity Crisis from 75.
Yeah.
And yes, Police Squad was 1982. Wow, I didn't realize it was 82. I thought it was earlier than that.
Well, I mean, Airplane was 78, 79.
80, Airplane was 80. But yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yep. But yeah, the last TV thing he did was playing the voice of Dr. Barry Rummock. In the episode of Family Guy Blue Harvest. It was archive audio in 2007. Yeah, good old Leslie Nielsen. Gotta love that guy. Yeah, absolutely. All right, what are we gonna rate Lady in Waiting, sir?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5. On the whole, I don't think there was anything really. It was just interesting. I mean, it was, like I said, it was an interesting take on the formula, but I don't think there was anything exceptional about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think for me, I agree with you, but for me, it seemed like the formula, it was obviously Columbo repeats it at the end, but there was a moment there because we see scenes of her killing her brother twice, right?
That's interesting. She has I forgot about that. She has this whole fantasy about how it's supposed to play out.
Right. So the fantasy was first, and then the actual killing. Okay. See, I was confused at first. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going?
Everything was like the whole thing is she's in bed and her eyes are closed and everything's wavy.
Yeah.
Which is sort of cinematic shorthand for a dream or a fantasy.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, I will probably also give it a 3.5 out of 5. There wasn't anything I disliked about it. I found it really. I enjoyed it. So, but at the same time, I see what you mean about there's not really it doesn't. There isn't anything about Columbo himself in here that, I mean, he stands out and all of his perks and the parts of his personality stand out, but like there's no super I gotcha. Like there's no like, yeah, she pulls the gun on him. Yes, he talks her out of it because he says to her, "Classy woman like you wouldn't shoot me."
Well, that's what says there's a policeman right out there, so you're not gonna get away with it.
Yeah, but so. All right, folks, 3.5 all around. We're going to go to a quick ad break. You'll hear some podcast ads, and we will come back to close the show right after this.
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks. Every Friday on the GeekCast Radio Network.
So basically, my name is Fun Floyd, and I'm here with my partner at Random Hat Studio, aka Emily, and we stream on Whatnot every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific. We look for family, friends, rehoming great collectibles to people that are willing to partake, and we give a portion of our funds every week to a specific charity, and looking to pay it forward back to the community that made everything that we do so wholesome.
A few seconds later.
On the Simplistic Reviews podcast, we talk movies. We talk TV. We talk...
Hello, Julie, what the heck are you doing?
Trying to make our spots sound more exciting by adding explosions.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could have got the point across with sound effects, not the real thing.
Download the show on iTunes or at simplisticreviews.blogspot.com.
I'm sure your insurance company will cover that.
No, they won't.
No, they probably won't.
Oh, right, yeah. Gee, I should have thought of that.
All right, folks, we are back here inside Studio 2009. This is the Detective December now because we're going through a lot of Columbo. And this, as we've said in this episode, is Season 1, Episode 7, Lady in Waiting. I know it'll be a different episode number if you look at various other things because the first two were movies, yada, yada, yada. But this is episode 117. And what are your final thoughts about this episode, sir?
I like it's one of those that I didn't remember as well as other ones. And like I said, it was. I mean, I've repeated myself like 3 times now. It was fun to see the formula tinkered with.
Yep.
Because I think these apparently Columbo is considered a cozy mystery, which is like what Murder She Wrote is. And I don't know. I get it, but I don't kind of. I don't know. I resist the cozy mysteries are about like the mystery itself isn't really that important.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like there is like a comfort to the formula, to the repetition, and so it is. But it's also fun to watch it tinkered with from time to time.
And for me, the fun is also seeing, like I mentioned in one of the first episodes. I think it was not Blueprint. That's the season finale. Prescription Murder. I think I mentioned in that I don't know a lot of actors or actresses that are going to appear in here. Obviously, we know Columbo because we know Peter Falk. We know Peter Falk because of the character of Columbo and everything else. But
yeah, basically.
And no, but I'm saying
no knock on Peter Falk's career, but that is his sort of defining role.
Absolutely. And the thing is when someone does show up that I do know, I'm like, oh, they did this. That's cool. It's like literally my first thought. Like I have a photo that I will probably have in this episode post of the two of them standing together. I'm like, Lieutenant Columbo, Lieutenant Drebin. So it was fun for me to see Leslie Nielsen in a show like this because I had only ever known him for his comedy. I didn't know him as a serious actor because I was too young.
To be fair, like 1980 is still pretty early for me too.
Yeah.
So but I mean, I know from, I guess I know from being told by people who are, and it's a thing that I know just from like learning about film and learning about that actor.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I mostly knew him. Like I first became aware of him from Airplane. So.
Mm-hmm. And I haven't, since the last time we recorded, I have not caught the whole episode. but I found a clip on YouTube of Peter Falk on Inside the Actor Studio.
I watched that back in the day when it first aired.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted to try to find it on YouTube, and I only found the closing, where he asks him the
questions.
The questions, and then you have the audience asking. Yep. And then after that, I saw the Emmy win.
I watched that clip.
Yeah, and then I watched the Johnny Carson clip. I don't know if I posted the Johnny clip yet, but after the Emmy win, there's a clip of him on Johnny Carson on the Tonight Show, and he keeps calling him John. So I'll have to post that. But yeah, Lady in Waiting, it's a good one, but it's not one I would probably revisit after this. It's I don't know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But like we said, 3.5 all around. And that's going to do it for this episode today in Detective December. Thank you for joining us inside the studio. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website geekcastradio.com, where you can listen to and comment on all of our content. We are on our way to 4,000 total podcasts in 15 and a half years. I think we're up to, right now, as of this recording, we're up to 3,925. So we got 75 to go. And these will all obviously contribute to that. Plus, we now have a brand new fourth wall store where you can get our merchandise, mugs, and shirts, and sweatshirts, and other stuff, and whatever else. That is shop.geekcastradio.com. You can shoot us an email, feedback@geekcastradio.com. In the subject line, just put Studio 2009 and whatever episode number you'd like to leave the feedback for, so I know which episode I need to have that in, whether it's the Columbo stuff, whether it's the Star Wars stuff, or whatever else we're doing around here. We're on all the podcatching clients, Apple, Spotify, etc., etc. I don't know if we're on Spotify or not. I forget. But we're around, or you can just visit the website, like I said before. We're on Twitter at GeekCast Radio for the network, at It's Studio 2009 for the show. I am at TFG1Mike. Dave doesn't do Twitter. Become a fan on Facebook. Go to facebook.com/GeekCast Radio Network. You can also check out Studio 2009 podcast over there as well. Next time, we've got the penultimate episode of the first season. We will be talking about Columbo, Season 1, Episode 8, Short Fuse. For now, I am TFG1Mike with
David Draper.
You'll hear us back in the studio soon.
Seems to me we've been selling everything but our own product.
Beth, forgive me, but that is our job.
Forgive me, but it's not. Our job is to grow. Now, when was the last time this agency took on a new account?
We have all we can handle.
Nonsense.
Now, look, Beth, I don't want to be difficult, but I
Fred, I don't mean to interrupt you. But this is really not the time for negative thinking.
Something happens to him. Like, somebody comes up and
lady
smacks
in waiting. Like, the mother treats him like a servant.
Yeah, well, yeah, she does.
Pay for the cab and carry all the crap. And
yeah, she does that, but I don't know. We'll figure it out.
She's got a yappy little dog.
Yep. Oh, that dog. That dog is funny.
I mean, I love dogs, but
yeah,
well, exactly. It wasn't a Chihuahua.
Well, luckily in those days,
rats. I'm pretty sure they're rats, not dogs.
Yes. Luckily in those days, Chihuahuas weren't as famous or as infamous as they are now for people to own Chihuahuas. Like back in those days, it was that, I forget what type of dog that is.
Silky. She said it was a Silky.
She said, okay, good. Yeah, those little dogs are more...
Just little dogs in general.
The last time I cared about an actual little dog was when Yo Quiero Taco Bell.
I remember he commanded a Trade Federation tank.
That's right.
He was a true hero.
That's right. All right.
Wow.
What in the world has gotten into you?
Thank you for joining us here inside the studio. If you'd like to get in contact with us or leave feedback for the show, there are several ways to do so. Visit the website. I'm going to redo that. Oh, crap. I was trying to hold that in. Yeah, I was trying to hold that in. Sorry.
Oh, God. That was worse.
Yeah, it was worse. All right.
Thank you very much.